What is up, my little deinos? Vepsis here, your coach of the Helsinki Hydreigons, and we are here for the APA Academy Week 12 battle versus Rewt and his team beat the New Jersey Brobats, who is someone that actually we got to go up against as well in the UBL Season 3, so it's funny to get have the chance to play him as well here in the APA Academy. His YouTube channel will be down below in the description, as well as SlackOut, who is the graphic maker for my channel, and huge thank you yet again to him as always. His social links will be down below in the description as well, so make sure to check him out as well. Regards to the matchup, you can see on the top right hand corner of your screen below my own roster as a comparison. His C captains are Haxorus, Delphox and Bigables respectively, whereas my own are Landrister, Volcron and Cramble in itself. So for those that want to skip the part of where I go briefly my team in itself, what I'm gonna be bringing for this matchup, the timestamp link for that should be popping right about now. It's not actually really a link. I always tend to say it's a link, but it's just a timestamp text. So I give you an option to just skip that part of the video if you want to just see the battle in itself. But either way, the option is there for you, and for those that are interested to see my spreads and items and all that good stuff regards to going into this battle, let's jump into that part. And we are gonna be starting it off with our Cramble, which is gonna be fully physically defensive to deal with things like Mamoswine primary, while at the same time it can deal with Scrafty, Meloida fighting, what other things it was able to deal with as well. It was able to deal with the Haxorus, if I didn't say that already, and the Heracross. That was another big thing as well, that this thing can defensively and typing wise, and with the Intimidate to deal with. And then we are running Player Off and Super Fang as our attacking moves, and Race Talk for the formal recovery outside of the leftovers as a passive formal recovery. So that is going to be the Cramble. Then we are running another Rest Talk set in Landrister, and this is funnily enough our second out of our third. So half of our team is going to be running Rest Talk, so you can already tell how creative I went with this team build, honestly. Like, this is our final battle of the regular season, so I didn't like put as much invest on the type, but I think it's very efficient and I think it can work versus my opponent. But either way, regards to Landrister in here for Fury, physically defensive, and with the Rocky Helmet and Earthquake and U-turn, this is their primary just for the Mega Beater. As long as I can keep that thing in check, I should be able to deal with it quite well, especially if I get my rocks up and my Rocky Helmet is still intact. Therefore I can pretty much shut down that thing for what it's primary there to do, which is just clicking U-turn whenever it finds its way into the field. So this is my way to punish him for that and just proceed from there. And then I just figured to have Rest Talk on it, because I figured the health is too important, because I cannot lose this thing, because otherwise the Beatrip becomes a lot bigger threat to me, because I don't have a way to revenge kill it or outspeed it with the Team of 6 that I'm bringing. So that is going to be Landrister. Then we are running 4 attacks, Timid Mega Gengar here with Sludge Bomb, Shadow Ball, Dazzling Gleam and Energy Ball. I believe we outspeed both Meloida Period form, which is the fighting form, as well as, just in case, a Choice Scarf Mamoswine as well, at least a Adamant Nature if I remember right. So that is going to be regards to its spread. The attacking moves are the Sludge Bomb, Shadow Ball, Dazzling Gleam for the Scrafty and Haxorus, and Energy Ball for the Haxorus in itself. Pretty straightforward, good special attacker, and just our Uber of the trap, which I always wanted to bring throughout my run here in the APA Academy after taking over the team. And then we have a special defensive Bronzor with Gyro Ball, Earthquake, Stealth Rocks and Toxic. This is there just to have a rocker on the team and some sort of switching to the Togekiss if it happens to show up. Other than that, it's very expendable on this matchup after it's able to at least get the rocks up, and hopefully they are there to stay. Then we have a Choice Bandit Kartana making another appearance with this kind of set, just like last week, and we are running just Dual Stab in Leaf Blade, Smart Strike, and then we coverage move what we are gonna be running Knockoff for the Solgaleo and Sacred Sword to hit the other things that are weak to fighting, like the Scrafty for example, a lot harder than we already do with Leaf Blade for example as it is. So that is going to be the Kartana. And then the last set is going to be the final Rest Talk set user as well, which is going to be Type Null here, which also put a lot of work actually on last week with a similar kind of set. This time around we do run U-turn on it as well for the momentum. besides the landers there, so they form a slow pivoting role. So ideally Kartana and Mega Gengar get in for free, and then I can go from there. But that is going to be the team of 6, and now let's go and see how the battle turn out. And here we are with the battle in itself, where my opponent decides to bring Delphox, Mamoswine, Heracross, Mega Beedrill, Palkia, and the Meloetta in itself. So as I'm going into this matchup, I decide to lead with my Bronzong, because I don't see any hazard remover barring Beedrill having access to defog on the team of 6 that he brought. So having Stealth Rocks up early could be very beneficial for me. So that is going to be the mindset going to this. And hopefully we can end our final game of the regular season as a win, because that would mean that after I took over the team starting for week 8, we would have a undefeated run, which is quite significant showcase for my behalf, considering we took over a team that was sitting at 0-7 before I inherited it for myself. So hopefully we can accomplish that as we go up against Rewt here in the final week of the regular season, which is gonna be our final battle for both me and for him, considering that neither of us can make to the playoffs anymore. But as we jump into the battle itself, he's gonna be leading up with his Delphox, meaning that I'm gonna be immediately swapping out, and there was no reason to reach my Bronzong on turn 1 if it happens to be a C-move variant or tries to go for a setup. So I swap into my Type Null as he reveals to be substitute, and goes along and goes for a Toxic as well while at it, which doesn't really bother me, but this might be something that he was really happy about up until I reveal him that I do run rest on this thing. So we just go for the frustration, because I believe U-turn wasn't the guaranteed way to kill its substitute if he had, for example, max HP. So I figured that it's just my safest move to click, and after that I do click it again, because he did not bring his Solgaleo for whatever reason, which I was quite significantly surprised by that he didn't, and he brought something like Delphox instead over it. But this means that he doesn't have any kind of normal resist, so frustration was very free from there, and he brought his Mamoswine in, which I was happy that I got that damage off on it. And immediately I swap into my Crample, because I know this thing has access to Knockoff, so he could very well go for that. Or as this what happened to be his only Stealth Rocket on his roster, which is also quite significant note to take from his team if you paid attention to his roster when we covered through it earlier. That was also something that made a lot of sense for him to go for and carry those on the Mamoswine in itself. But now I went for the Super Fang, predicting him to swapping into Delphox or to the Mega Beedrill in itself, but I missed my Super Fang immediately, which was kinda unfortunate, because that would have meant that this Beedrill would be at 50% of health, and now after attacking me he would be even below, like he would be like mid 30% from that. But he happens to go for his Toxic Spikes instead of attacking on that turn, which is kind of interesting strategy. He brought the Stealth Rocks plus Toxic Spikes, which I found interesting strategy. I don't mind the idea, because I love the strategy of that my own to utilize in my draft league battles. But I do happen to have Mega Gengar on my roster, and I didn't see a reason for him to expect me not to bring it. So it was quite interesting that he brought that, but I can deal with those, because now I can swap into my Mega Gengar immediately, as I went for the U-turn as he swapped into his Mamoswine, and I just immediately get rid of the not Stealth Rocks. I wish I could get rid of Stealth Rocks like that, but no, I meant to say I'm able to get rid of the Toxic Spikes from my side of the field, and now I get my swap into my Crample afterwards. So I basically try to accomplish the fact that these T-Spikes aren't on my side of the field, and now I can just gain the information from there. And I did also want to check if he happens to be like a Jolly Choice Scarf Mamoswine for whatever reason with Stealth Rocks as well while at it, and he happened to swap into his Meloetta, because he was still able to swap out with his Mamoswine, because our Mega Gengar wasn't Mega Evolved just yet. So on that turn he was able to accomplish that, and he showed that to be his switching, which makes a lot of sense, because I cannot hit it with a Ghost Staff, and it's able to take any other potential hit quite well. And after that he just goes for the U-turn with his Meloetta, knowing that he can just force me out, and he's able to force me into my Bronzong and bring in his Palkia, which I'm okay by, even though this thing does get access to Fire-type moves in itself, as we see him going for the Flamethrower, which reveals that he should be max special attack if I remember right, which means that he's able to 2-hit KO me from this range. But my only thing that I need my Bronzong here for especially when he didn't bring his Togekis, was just I get the rocks up, and now considering that the Mega Beetle and the Delphox will be taking that 25% of damage once they hit on the field, and he brought Hazard stacking Rewt himself, I don't anticipate him to have default on Mega Beetle, so those rocks are there to stay, and now the field is even out from both of our sides, and now I can bring my Type Null in for free, and I'm gonna be revealing the rest on my first of my 3 mods, because if you didn't watch the team below, I have 3 rest talk users on this team, so kind of a web potato like sets. Very lazy build for my behalf, but I find they're very efficient, especially my Type Null for this matchup to run this kind of set, cause it's able to take these hits from Palkia very well, and that's pretty impressive for Mamon, which is like 4 points in this point system draft. And Palkia is like really good Uber, what I can tell. It was very hard to prepare for that thing, but Type Null can wall that thing, and we are able to go for the Sleep Talk here, but we are gonna be pulling out Rest from that turn. So we didn't get like Q-turn from that, or Frustration. Either of them would have been fantastic here, as he was able to bring his Heracross in, but I'm okay with this, because Heracross thankfully doesn't get access to like Iron Head or Poison Jab, which would have been really scary here, because he happens to be a Trillion of Sword Dance Heracross, which means that now it's gonna be at +1 attack and +1 speed, thanks to my Intimidate taking the +2 into +1 in instead. But now he goes for the double edge, which is gonna hurt quite a bit to my Lumiki the Crample, but Lumiki takes that thing, hit like a boss, man, and goes for the player off on this Heracross, and that thing is gonna be out of the game, out of the picture, and this means that he has now even harder type to kill my Type Null, because that was his fighting type, unless the Meloida shows to be a period form. But as long as that Meloida is not period form, he should not have much for my Type Null from here, as long as he doesn't hacks it to death by any means. But even then, I do have the battle armor ability on Type Null, so he's gonna be having a very hard time to kill the thing, as it's gonna be hitting on the field, which we are talking about. I did let him kill my Cramble just in case if he happened to carry Hydro Pump on it, because that would have been a little bit annoying to try to switching to, because I only have burned 1 turn of Sleep Talk up until this point. So I let Crample go down, which means that the Mamoswine was still a problem, because that was my switching into it. But thankfully, what happens to happen here is that Type Null is gonna be pulling off a Frustration out of the second turn of Sleep Talk as he swapped it in. So that means that now me losing my Crample does not hurt me anymore, because that was Crample was literally only there for the Heracross and primarily for the Mamoswine. That was the biggest one that he needed to take care of, and now that Crample is gone, it's great that his Mamoswine is gone as well, and now he does go into his Mega Beetle on my Type Null, I believe, and we are gonna be swapping into our Landers there, which can take this Poison Jab quite well. He was able to crit us earlier with the Pichu as well, which did force me to now go for the rest, if I remember right, as he brings his Meloida in, just to keep this thing healthy. And yep, here we go, we have a second rest stock revealed so far to our opponent, so Rewt might be just sitting there like, oh my god, what did he bring versus me? Why everything is running rest over here? And I do feel a little bit for Rewt. It's not definitely fun for him to deal with this, but it's efficient and it's helping me out to potentially to win this battle. So I'm just doing whatever I can to just have a perfect record over here. So unfortunately for Rewt, I am taking the little bit of lazy and boring route regards to my sets, but if they work, they work. And we are just gonna be bringing out Type Null in on the Meloida, and now speaking of rest, we just go for that again. Type Null is feeling a little bit sleepy over here after having to get worn down so much on his health, and now as he's just gonna be, I guess, locking itself into Psychic. I don't know if he's trying to fish for this Bedef drop. I think that might be his only reason for keep doing this, but because we are especially defensive and have our Eviolite, those Psychic are doing literally nothing, as you can tell. Like, you can tell from the HP by how much they are doing, and they are doing like 50% or to 20% probably to our Type Null. which is quite nice, because now I can just pretty much just wait up until I am able to 1v1 this Meloeda, or I happen to pull off a U-turn so I can swap into my Kartana instead, because even if he happens to be Choice Scarf, he is locked into Psychic, and if he's not Choice Scarf, I outspeed it and kill it from here. So basically what I'm doing here is that either if I don't get a U-turn, I always rest up after I have burned the 2 turns, and if I get the U-turn, I do get into my Kartana, and then I claim a kill at least from that point. So it was kind of I was kind of relying on the sleep talk turns, but at this point I didn't have anything to lose by it, especially if he swaps out like he does. The stealth rocks are there to punish him, and he doesn't really have anything for this type null. So type hero, the type null, is putting in a work, but now he's gonna be pulling off a rest down at that turn. So now I'm like, you know what, if you happen to have Konokov on that Mega Pichu, I'm not letting you Konokov my Eviolite, because that type null is putting so much work right now. So I swap into my Landorus in here, and now he does go for the Konokov, but this only means that now he's gonna be just knocking off the Rocky Helmet from my Landorus there, and now he's got a little barrel health on that Mega Pichu, meaning that he cannot coming on Stealth Rocks anymore, meaning that I can basically just go for my Sleep Talk here, and if I pull off a Earthquake or U-turn, we finish this thing off. If we pull off a rest, it means that we are giving him 1 extra turn for not being able to do anything versus us besides getting those T-Spikes up, which he did get them up, but now we finish him off with a U-turn. And here, just like last time when he got those T-Spikes up, I just swap into my Gengar just to eliminate them, so they are just basically always a non-factor versus me. So that's kind of the reason why I was surprised that he brought this T-Spikes on the Mega Pichu, because I thought like my Gengar is too obvious to come, so I always able to nullify them whenever he's able to get them up. But either way, after that he goes into his Meloida, forcing my Gengar out, which was perfectly fine because my type now is still in a very good health. And as you can tell, he goes for the Psychic yet again. And we are back at square one, as he's just gonna be trying to click Psychic. He cannot fish for a crit, because thanks to our ability, we can avoid being critted, which honestly makes it a lot more harder for him to even try to kill this thing, because he cannot rely on hacks other than trying to get a SPDF drop. But instead of that, we finally pull off a U-turn with our type null. So now I can do what I was wanting to do with it throughout my team builder part already, which is that I get slow initiative into my wall breaker, that is Kartana, which is one of my primary offensive threats that I brought besides my Mega Gengar. So this semi-style team was relying on the Destructo, the Kartana, to be able to get it in for free, just like we are able to do now. And unless he has some weird Scarfer on his team, like the Palkia potentially, which I don't think will be Scarf, Kartana can actually sweep from here. The Delphox, we already knew that it's not Choice Scarf. We dealt with the Meloeda, revealing that it's not Choice Scarf in itself. We are at +2 and Essential with Choice Bandit, we are at +3 at this point. Just logging ourselves into Leaf Blade, and now he only has the Palkia left, and based on how he has brought it in as the last one on his team, it is not gonna be Choice Scarf, and now we definitely kill this thing. We already had a good chance of killing this thing after Stealth Rocks with Choice Bandit at neutral attack without a Beast Boost, so at +2 we definitely killed that thing, and that is going to be the game versus Rewt for this week in the APA Academy Week 12, and being the final battle of the regular season. And we do finish off our run here after taking over a team that did not have a single win after we took over. And after that I had 5 weeks to battle, and we went 5-0 undefeated with +17 differential if you only count from those games in itself, meaning that our record in the end, as you can tell from below me, it's a lot more it's not as bad as it was when we started this versus TTM Styx on week 8, when we had like 0-7 like -22 or whatever difference. So but because the fact that we took over such a bad differential team and not having a single win, we do not make to the playoffs. We needed basically to have at least 6 wins in our team, which team I was giving over to. Because with the way APA Academy actually works is that we have 3 divisions which are counted as teams, and they are working together to get as many wins as possible, so as many teams from their team in that division can make to the playoffs. And our team which I was part of, was the second highest ranked. And from that division, 4 teams will be making to the playoffs, and from those teams, each of them at least have 6 wins throughout the regular season. Once the last season of battle was done, so basically I would have needed 1 more extra week, or taken over the team in itself a little bit earlier and try to get another W in order for me to have a chance to playoffs based on how things played out. But that's not the case. We do end our season over here, but I can now say that we are going to be coming back for the APA Academy in Generation 8 in Sword and Shield. We are gonna be coming here, and then we are gonna be drafting our own team, starting from the scratch, and our goal is then to make to the playoffs and make some noise over there. So our run, even though it ends over here, we are able to give a very good impression apparently to the APA Academy to get invited back, and I believe based on how they were announcing them on the Discord server, I was the first person to be invited or like announced to be back for the APA Academy, and considering that I am a replacement coach, I would like to think that's a pretty huge compliment to my way, and probably they took a huge note on that, how I was able to perform and how I've been able to do a record my battles and such. So hopefully that just means I have basically had a very good first impressions to them. But that is gonna be us for the APA Academy season. Let me know how you liked about the season, how you felt about trying potentially or playing in Uber's draft yourself. I found it very interesting, even though it was a very short trip for myself, regards to only playing 5 weeks in that kind of format. But I found it really refreshing for ending out the Generation 7, and now I'm really excited for the Generation 8 and come back here and just keep going this momentum what we had with this draft in itself. But thank you all for watching. The next and the only uploads what we have remaining in the Generation 7 are regards to the Ian World Trophy, and the next upload, as long as the battle still will happen, will be versus Frosted for the week 6, which is still being postponed. But if that doesn't happen, then the most likely scenario is that we jump into the playoffs, and there's most likely scenario that I do have to play a round 1 there, and we have to wait and see who that is. But other than that, just keep notifications on, be subscribed to the channel so you won't be missing out the action. I cannot say when the upload will come, because that's still up in the air once the playoff picture is completely unfolded. But once we know who we go up against, and once it's that time for me to upload from that, I'm gonna be coming back then here on my channel. So thank you all for watching, stay tuned for that, and until next time, I'm gonna be seeing you guys later.